Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.organissima.com. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty. Organissima, New York.
Welcome back to the iHealth channel, the Fit and Fab channel on iHealth Radio. Hurricane H here. New day, new show, new topic, new guest, and a little bit of fitness and a different concept of fitness or nutrition, health, holistic, a little bit of an angle to bring again a new concept with my guest and special guest, Jen Lucas, who's the CEO and founder of a program, a system. The Yang and Yin is the company, and we're going to talk about the concept of matcha. And I am clueless about it. So I know Yang and Yin and Yin and Yang. I mean, we all know the question, like, it's the balance, and being complete. And maybe that's just the generic, option that we hear about and we know about. But I think it gets deeper than that. And today we're going to know more about that. So Jen, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Great. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Oh, listen, you and I have been trying to do this for a couple of months. We finally made it. So, hey,
yeah,
I am all excited to be here with you on the show. Thank you for being on the show and to share with us as well, your concept, but before we do that, why don't you give us a little bit of an introduction about your background and how it all started and what's the story behind the company?
Feels like forever ago, but I guess about a decade ago, I was living in Southern California, going through challenging times as we all do. I was at this point, it was a turning point. I felt like I was losing myself. I was finding I wasn't getting excited about things, and I'm the type, I get excited about the smallest things. So I knew right then and there was something going on. I was in an unfulfilling career, and I had two very small children, and my family and support system was back here, back east, thousands of miles away. So, all of that was definitely going on. And of course, there were things I could do to change them, but, it was there. It was something that I had to work through. And I didn't want to just like push it away or forget about it. I was going to deal with it. But in addition to that, I wanted to make, a lot of positive, healthy changes, something that I could control, to kind of offset those negatives. At that time, I was drinking coffee only out of necessity. I've never really liked the way coffee made me feel, just the jitters. And because I don't drink it, I'm very sensitive to it. I mean, I was like, if I had a cup, I was just bouncing off the wall. So
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I really wanted to stop that. And I didn't like the way it made my stomach feel not okay. And I wanted to stop drinking coffee. So I started doing yoga back then, decided I was going to remove, chemicals from my daily routine in as many different areas that I could, skincare, my oral care. I was making my own toothpaste, cleaning products, just anything that I could, figure out how to do it on my own. So, deodorants as well, all of that stuff. So I've always been a tea drinker. I stopped drinking coffee, and then a friend of mine introduced me to matcha, and I was just hooked from there, especially after I really started doing the research and understanding all the benefits. I really just knew that was a really good, foundation to start my day. So I just started, it sounds super fancy, doing a tea ceremony ritual, but it's not at all. It's just basically, every day I would around the same time. Of course, I'm human and it doesn't always happen that way, but I tried to do around the same time, kind of mid-morning after, sitting down, checking emails, doing whatever, and just kind of processing what the day had in store. I'd take that break, I'd go and make my tea and just try to be as mindful about it as possible, like literally watching myself make the tea and kind of tuning everything else out. So that small change in my, my daily routine, it did wonders. I mean, matcha, it helps you stay focused all day, not like coffee where you're up and, the crash. My energy was sustained, throughout the day. And another very interesting component to it is you're energized yet calm. So, it was just a lot of goodness in one small thing, like drinking tea, that I just really felt like I wanted to share with as many people as possible. Even if they didn't drink it as tea, there's a lot of different ways to use it, which, we can get into here shortly. But that kind of was the start of it. I mean, I've always known that I wanted to have my own business. Took a very long time to figure out what that was. And of course, I'm still figuring it out. But that light bulb just kind of went off one day. And I'm like, okay, well, let's start there. Let's start with the matcha and see how that unfolds. So, once I found a quality supplier and just started selling it online, I really did a lot of like competitive research, seeing, what other matcha brands are doing. And there's a lot of them out there that do really good and they focus on matcha. And I just kind of knew I wanted to do some really cool, innovative things with it because there are so many health benefits. So in addition to the matcha tea product, I formulated an all-natural face cream using matcha powder. And just building off of those things that, I did for myself, removing chemicals, as I mentioned, I was just using coconut oil for skincare, which wasn't the best at all times. So, and I didn't really have any other products that I loved. So I just made my own.
Well, listen, Jen, first of all, thank you for that introduction and just to give us a little bit of insights on the background. So I wanted just to kind of capture a couple of elements there. The first one is you obviously had, a life and excitement. You were in California, things were happening, family up, in the East, and there's a stress level, there's things, but it seemed that you wanted to have a healthier lifestyle, and also you mentioned clearly you wanted to remove chemicals from your life, and I have to say that is something that probably a lot of people listening today and watching will probably consider because of everything going on in the world, right? And if not, they have already considered. I mean, I have thought about it myself. Sometimes you try to be as organic, as natural as you can be, but life happens, and there's a lot of stuff available to us readily. But to really have that kind of concept of having everything natural, to really build a nice, healthy lifestyle with natural ingredients is very difficult in this world that we live in. But you were able to do that, and obviously it took some time to build all these things, and you've tried different angles. But then you talked about caffeine, and I mean that's like the common drug.
Yeah.
Everybody, I listen. I can say I'm guilty as charged. I do drink at least a couple of cups of coffee a day, and and it's hard to really remove that from your daily routine. Now, I mean, I've improved it to just pure stuff, no milk, no sugar, and stuff like that. So it's a little more natural. But again, you still get the jitters, and you can see I'm all animated. But it's okay, right? I'm also, I've been in sales, so in sales you always have to be energized, so that helped.
Sure.
But I've tried tea, I've done some English tea concepts and things like that. But I have not actually heard about matcha before, and what it was, and certainly it made a difference for you. So much that it worked so much that you took it to the next level and also began your own business with it. But that's another item I wanted to highlight. The fact that you've started your own business, it is scary. a lot of people are afraid to get to leap forward towards being, their own boss and run things. And it's not as easy as it sounds. People think, oh, well, it's I'd rather work. There's a plus and minus to everything, right? You work for corporate, for companies and stuff is one thing. There's different stress, this, that. But then you start your own company, it's just as bad, because now you have to be in charge of everything and it has to work to make it work. And it's a learning, and like you're really doing it on the go. You learn as you proceed and as you progress with your business. No matter how good you are in terms of, setting up a plan and things like that. So this is a couple of items I wanted just to discuss. And first of all, congrats on that, because it takes a lot. And it takes, a determination, and motivation to actually to back that up. And you did it. And that's also a dream come true. And a lot of people, hearing this, just from the concept of inspiration, I think if you have a dream and you want to do something good for yourself and share it with people, and you have what it takes, you do it. And again, you're a great example for that. So I try to always complement the discussion between mind, body, and spirit, and motivation is always a piece of it. And I think this is a good and valuable information that we can talk about for a second. So matcha to us right now, based on what I'm hearing, it's a kind of a beverage, a tea, right? A plant.
Yes, so it's actually the same plant as the green tea plant. A steeped green tea that you find in anywhere. It's the exact same plant. That's called camellia sinensis is the official term. It's just grown and processed differently. So it's grown in the shade, and that allows it to retain all of its chlorophyll and the amino acids, because when it's grown in the sun technically zaps those nutrients by drying them out. So in the chlorophyll, if you've ever seen matcha, it's just a powder and it's very bright green. Different brands and levels have different shades, but on average, it's a really bright green. And that's from all the chlorophyll that's just still present in that plant after it's been processed. So, again, there's different levels, and, they're harvested at different times, and some are fully destemmed and deveined. So it's just like the nice leaf that you get. Mm-hmm. But basically it's just steamed, and that prevents, it from being oxidized. And again, it retains that really natural, vibrant green color from the chlorophyll. And then it's cooled and dried. So it's passed through like an air machine to cool and dry. And then it's literally just ground. So what you're doing is you're putting the powder into your mug, and you're ingesting the full leaf into your system. So, when you have a steeped tea bag, trust me, I still drink them. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but what all you're getting is what kind of comes out from the tea bag into the water.
The extract, but not the whole thing.
Correct. So this is just a ground up leaf that you're ingesting into your system. So that's why they say 1 cup of matcha is the equivalent antioxidant wise as 10 brewed cups of green tea.
Wow. Well, so let's talk about that. So thank you, first of all, for the clarification. And, that's pretty interesting because so caffeine is a plant, obviously, and so it's also some sort of a seed, and then basically it's grinded, things like that. Tea is also a plant. They're different, they have caffeine in both of them. The level of caffeine in matcha, the actual leaf, is that comparable? Is that less? How does that compare?
So I'm not totally sure if it's like level wise, if it's comparable or less. However, I do know that the way that the compounds are within the plant, that your body processes it differently. So that's why you get the sustained energy, not, some huge spike and then a crash. It's just the way the compounds in the leaf react and once you ingest it. So I love that. I even though I drink it every day, 1 cup a day, and I'm good. It's not like something you have to keep upping because your tolerance builds or something that I've experienced anyway. Don't get me wrong, there are days where I'm like, oh boy, I need another cup, but it's very rare.
But that's great. But let me ask you this. So I know you mentioned about the way you grow it. It's the same tea leaf, but or the plant, but it's not in the outdoors. It's in the shade concept, and so it retains all the nutrients and stuff. But now, is this grown locally, or are you also imported from overseas, or is there a specific area that it grows better than other? What's the geographic concept in there?
Yes, so it's grown overseas. I don't know about any domestic tea farms, green tea farms, because they've been growing it in China and Japan for centuries. They have the appropriate climate
Mhm.
and the knowledge more than anything of how to properly grow it. That's where it started, that's where it continues. And again, it takes a really fertile ground, moist, like temperate fog, humidity, that type of kind of environment is where it thrives. So that's the main production. I'm sure there's some grown in India as well, but China and Japan are definitely the top growers of the green tea plant for sure.
Well, and you know what? I didn't expect an answer different. I mean, the only thing I was thinking more, because it's in the shade, because stuff, maybe there's ways to do it, locally to produce it, more on short, level, but not in a wholesale concept. But definitely, I mean, you go to any like some sort of a Chinese or Korean or Japanese store, I mean, supermarket, I mean, the level of teas that they sell and the brands and the types is amazing. I mean, there's aisles just specific for tea. I don't even know half of those things, and what they are,
Right.
but they're all natural teas and things like that. Now, ultimately, some of those are kind of manufactured and maybe not the same. Your concept took it to the next level where it's more of a natural, it's all specific, and it has all these ingredients that are still kept well, and the way also you use it, I guess, right, it makes a difference. To your point, we buy regular tea, you can boil the water, throw in some tea bags, and that's good, but it's not as the same, it's not as concentrated, the potency is less, and certainly the quality of what you get in may be a little diluted versus what you get through matcha in the concept that you're selling, or at least you're producing. Now you started this as a concept and a substitute, which is an awesome concept. But then you added the yin and yang to it, the yang and yin. So what was the connection there? If we can talk about just, I mean, the yin yang, I mean, we see it in martial arts movies, we hear about it, the balance and all that stuff. But what is it, that you put the actual connection between that and the product? Is it just the Zen, feeling? Is it the healthy feeling? Is it the balance between the two? Or what is exactly that got you into that name? And I'm not sure if you had that question before, but
No, absolutely. And you nailed it with all three of those, I believe. It's kind of a combination of all three. So for me, my whole premise is that, it's not just one thing that we do that helps us look and feel our best, right? So that's why it may seem like my product line and what I'm doing is all over the place. But for me, it's just little pieces of things throughout my whole daily routine that have really helped me feel and look my best. So again, I have the tea, skincare, oral care, and I'm also doing sound healing as well. So it's just this whole holistic approach to wellness. All these various areas are really important to create balance. So whatever you put on your skin, it goes into your body, right? Whatever you're brushing your teeth with, a lot of the normal toothpaste out there filled with highly toxic chemicals. Like, it's actually very scary. So just all these different practices and rituals that we do every day, making small changes here and there. And what I do might not work for somebody else, and that's totally, normal. But all of this kind of contributes to a balanced lifestyle. So it's all that. It's the Zen, because obviously there's tea involved, and I really like that sort of aesthetic, I guess is the correct word. So yeah, it's just this whole holistic approach to wellness, and not just, I do yoga, so I'm
I
I'm
was going to
good.
ask,
Like,
but I was going to ask you, you did start with yoga initially, and I guess that introduced you to this world of unique way of thinking and also living. And so it is I've talked to a lot of folks that do yoga and some of the that the Eastern type of medicine or holistic, treatments and concepts, and they all have very similar approaches to more healthier lifestyle, balanced lifestyle. It's a little bit of everything in one package, and it changes the way you do things. It changes the way you see your life. And you said it yourself. I mean, right now, when you talk about products that we have on a common basis, I mean, you read the ingredient list. I mean, we just had a discussion in a couple of shows a couple of days ago, and frankly, it's scary. You're right. I mean, there are things you can't even pronounce.
right.
And to find the right, again, ingredients in a natural way, it's harder sometimes, or it's also more expensive. So there's always these concepts that kind of put in obstacles in front of you. But again, it's there's a will, there's a way. I always say that. And it's a common concept of, you want something, you go after it, or you make it happen. And in your case, you come up with your own concept that is awesome and different, and you didn't reinvent the wheel. You just created a new version of the wheel with a whole
Right.
different approach, which is excellent. And I think that's really a smart way, and it's unique. And for that, again, congrats on that, because that's being innovative in a healthy way. and when it adds up the concept of balance, health, hygiene, the whole nine, take it from all the different ends, as a healthy organic approach, it is awesome. And I think that's also a good story, because when you produce these products and you put them in the marketplace, people want to have that story behind it. Like, why? What's the difference between this product versus the other product? What makes your product unique? But the story behind it is really what's the actual backing, right? And that's the most important piece of everything. Understanding what's the story, what's the actual motivation behind it. And yes, I mean, it's a business. Money is good. That's always a good motivation. But really, it's you want to do, like I always say this, you want to, if you're going to make a profit, that's great. But also, is whatever you're doing going to be detrimental, going to destroy lives, is going to be more beneficial to people? So yeah, there's nothing wrong with making, a decent living and a business and whatever. But the idea is the producing, of whatever you're going to put on the marketplace should have also some value that is healthy and something that people can benefit from. And that's actually, unfortunately, lost in, I guess, the business world. People do business, they make money, they don't care. It's all about the money, right? But sometimes we forget that natural, that humane, version of things. Like, we can still do good and make money and make a profit. And you use that angle because of the concepts that you have been accustomed to in terms of the yoga and all the environment. Now let's talk about the tea. So you have a particular, it's the brand. And is it particularly sold, on the website? Is it sold in the marketplace, in a particular store, in a chain, or is it's not available in the actual retail or wholesale?
At the moment, it's sold on my website, and I have a few more like local area websites that I sell it on as well, local to my area in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. But it can be purchased on my website, yes.
Very nice. Very nice. Now the benefits, right?
Yep.
The benefits, or the health benefits. What are some of the common benefits that people will get from literally using and utilizing your, product versus maybe a generic tea?
So there are many. We could have spent this whole
Yeah.
time going through them, but I'll just hit the,
Yeah, the key ones,
the
of
really
course.
main ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one obviously very important one at the moment is that it boosts our immunity.
Yes.
So again, because it's grown in the shade and it retains all of those amazing amino acids, the chlorophyll and the antioxidants, it really just boosts your body's immune defense. And to put it into perspective, I mentioned, how 1 cup is equal to 10 cups of green tea, but to put that into an antioxidant level, like as in comparison to foods, It has 13 times the antioxidants of pomegranates, 15
Wow.
times that of blueberries, and 125 times that of spinach, which is just crazy. So it just really gives you an idea of the great levels of antioxidants present in the tea. I quickly mentioned before how, the compounds in this really interesting way they interact in your system, how, it enhances your mood with the combination of the caffeine and a compound, it's called L-theanine. It's a rare amino acid that it actually promotes a state of relaxation, but because of the caffeine, you're also alert and focused. So it's a really interesting dynamic, the way that works in your body. Helps with your memory, your learning, and cognitive abilities as well. Another one people love is weight loss, just like green tea. There's been a lot of studies out there that, how it boosts your metabolism and can help you lose weight. It also helps, selectively burn fat that you have stored in your body for energy, and somehow it makes you feel fuller. So you can really portion your meals and reduce hunger cravings after consuming it. And another one people love, it fights aging. So that's why I knew I had to do the face cream with it. Again, because of all the antioxidants present, it fights free radicals, which are the main cause of damaging our cells and accelerating aging. So there's many great health benefits. Detoxifies your blood and helps, with excretion of heavy metals, which we all need. So it really just like cleanses your system, replenishes it, and it just does wonderful things for you.
Well, Jen, I mean, it sounds all good. So let me ask the $1 million question here. Are there any myths that we should bust today about the matcha? Meaning, how we think caffeine can get you bad and so on and so forth. Is there any side effect? Anything, obviously, I guess anything without moderation could be, or excessive use can have potential issues. But is there anything specific, a unique feeling, maybe a cannabis feeling or something? Is there anything that we should worry about?
No, I mean, not that to that extent, but matcha has been used by Zen Buddhists for centuries in meditation. So it does, again, it gives you that calm feeling.
Nice.
But also, one thing I always explain to people, but this is just something that's personal to me, but it could have a similar effect on other people. And green tea, even in a bag, did this to me as well. Is if I was on an empty stomach, I would get like a kind of nauseous feeling. So I think it's potent, so I have it mid-morning with some nuts or yogurt or something like that. I make sure that I have a little bit in my stomach to just kind of be ready for when it hits. I don't know. Most other people don't have that issue, but I like to, pre-warn in case, somebody's like, what are you doing to me?
I figured, somebody's going to ask, well, this sounds too good to be true. And, what's the other side of it? But
and the strength, I make it pretty strong too, which is probably a factor in that. But it's just something I like to kind of tell people ahead of time, just my experience. But
hey, you'll get a kick of it, right? You get a nice shot, right? So, well, sure. So is it a particular way to drink this? I mean, can it be like warm, hot? Can it be ice cold? I mean, because some people have preferences in how they take their beverages, or this has had to be like a hot tea type.
There are so many ways to use it, and people are just coming up with some really cool, innovative ways. I even published a recipe book that has a variety of recipes. If somebody doesn't want to drink it as tea, we have sweet, savory. You can put it in baked goods. I have various drinks and skincare recipes in my book. Me personally, I'm not super adventurous. I drink hot tea. In the summer, when I don't want a hot tea, I'll make it iced. But I don't add the oat milk. A lot of people like lattes and use the oat milk, which is also delicious. But for me, I've just always been like straight tea and water. I put ginger powder in it, which I don't know. The two flavors really complement each other. And I just love the flavor of ginger. So that's how I take it. But again, I wanted to make sure that people that were interested in it, wanted to get that, boost of antioxidants, had, other options of ways to just, throw it into smoothies or sprinkle it on your yogurt. I mean, there's so many different things you could do with it. It's that versatile.
Well, that's that. Thank you for clarifying that. I mean, so now we have different angles. We have the way you can drink it. You could also have it in your common food and as add-ons, but then you mentioned also something about like beauty and maybe like different products that you can use for your skincare and things like that. Are there any specific ones that either you sell or maybe are available in the marketplace that are infused with matcha?
Yes, so I did formulate an all-natural face cream using matcha powder. As I mentioned in my recipe book, I have several skincare recipes. There's a facial cleanser, toner, like spot rollerball treatment for acne, because it's really good at reducing redness, combating acne, and oil. And all the recipes in the book, there's a handful of ingredients. And as we talked about earlier, that's all you need. You don't need 100 ingredients to, effectively clean your skin. So I really I make all of them. That's what I use in my skincare routine. And it's nice to know what's going in it. I'm making it, and it's stuff that you would have lying around your house. It's nothing crazy that you need to order from, Alibaba or anything like that. It's stuff that, you could easily find or you may already have in your house. So it's amazing for your skin, again, with all the antioxidants present, and good for all skin types. Anybody with oily skin, as I mentioned, redness, acne prone. It really helps with all of those different types of skin types. So it's amazing. It's an amazing thing that we have available to us that can be kind of thrown into all aspects of life. And again, there's that whole holistic thing that I'm trying to get out there.
All right. Well, we will have the description obviously on the show to like the link to the website and the recipes if it's available, and or any other source that you want to share with us. I'll be more than happy to share with the listeners and the viewers here so they can have access to it. As I think the more we give people options to stay healthy and really naturally, organically, fit, why not, right? We want
Absolutely.
that. And that leads me to my next question. So this in my channel here and the radio, we have a lot of people that are more like in the fitness world or like healthy, trends, right? But let's say someone that has maybe an active lifestyle and does different things, maybe different types of fitness systems, right? Not necessarily maybe yoga, but maybe HIIT training, workout, whatever. They do jogging, they do different things. Is there any side effect, anything that, well, not side effect, anything that they have to, be concerned about in terms of the matcha? Is it going to be too I know it sounds like it's calming and stuff like that. Maybe that's the reverse reaction. Once they get a nice little cup, they might not be able to perform the same way. So is there any correlation to this, or it wouldn't matter? It would be just like having your cup of tea and you just have a good day and have your nice little immune system kick in, and that's it.
Actually, I did a whole blog post on how much matcha, benefits athletes. One reason, it helps fight off illness. So obviously, when you're athletic like that and you're looking for your optimal performance condition, fighting off illness and preventing illness is, a huge benefit. The fat burning aspect of it, the focus aspect, it aids in recovery also of your muscles. So I haven't found any, bad side effects for athletes. Quite the contrary. There's a huge amount. And could be almost more beneficial than drinking coffee, to be honest.
Well, side effects are not necessarily all bad, right? I mean, there's good side effects to a lot of things that, I had this discussion before about there's a medicine for diabetes that people use commonly as a pill, metformin. And recently they've discovered that particular pill is good for anti-aging. Now that's a chemical, obviously, and stuff like that. But the concept, I mean, it was just a side effect that turned out to be a good effect, right? In this case, natural ingredients are always going to be positive and give you stuff. I mean, even when we talk the cannabis and all the other stuff, they still have a net. I mean, that's why we have CBD now, and there's a whole industry going on with it, right? So there is positive to everything natural, as long as it's not humanly, there's no human intervention and changing it into some sort of a chemical compound. It always has a better stuff, obviously in moderation and knowing how to use it properly. And again, it's coming from a tradition of a history. I mean, the Chinese and the Japanese. I mean, literally, I was watching a documentary earlier that has about to do with Japanese culture and history. But those are cultures that have been, literally more entrenched into the organic and the natural and the herbal, lifestyle than more than the West, right? And I've heard, and I've seen, a lot of practices that make a whole difference into life. And I've seen, actually, I've worked with folks that come from Chinese background, things like that. Their health level's different, their stamina is different, they don't gain fat easily like most of us would do. So it's unique, but when you look at it, it's the type of diet and the type of things that they use, and it's just tremendous effects that are all positive. And that's a unique aspect, but it is available to everyone. The question is, do we take that leap forward towards that and make a change in our habits and our trends and daily routines, and hopefully we can get the benefits from it. You just added another great, piece of advice to our audiences here, and a great new way of getting healthier. And as a matter of fact, the last 3 shows I had, this is the 3rd one in a row, the 4th one, and the 3 out of the 4 were actually literally about fitness, wellness, nutrition, nutritional effects, and healthy eating and healthy habits. So it's all within the same range. This week is all about being healthier. Right. So you can never get more enough of that. Right. So that's clear. Now, you said you had a blog about something that's available to people to read. Is that on the site too?
It is on the site. Yeah. So there was a blog post specific to, how it benefits athletes is what I was referring to. But there are a lot of different, a lot of great information out there, a lot of recipes on my website. You can purchase products, of course, and just learn more. I try to make it such, a good resource for all different types of people and the different uses that they might be interested in. So.
And Jen, thank you for that. And I just wanted to add something. I know you talked about the antioxidant effect of the matcha, which is, again, as you described it, is a tea with a spin, right? With the same tea plant with a spin. But historically, tea in general is very powerful, very medicinal. I mean, even in the desert, I mean, like literally the Saharians and the nomads, that they drink so much tea. It's not even funny. It's part of their culture too. Now, they're not anywhere close to the Asian continent, but they do use, a huge, they have a whole use. I mean, I'm originally from Morocco, so we do have the sub-Saharan, part of it, or at least the Sahara, the part of it, and we have a lot of folks there that actually drink some heavy tea. I mean, their tea is so strong. Oh yeah. It's not even funny, but they have probably one of the healthiest communities that I've met also, in terms of their strength, in terms of their metabolism, their immune system. And they have very little incidence of like cancers and other type of extreme and chronic illnesses. So it is amazing, like the benefits of natural stuff. They're just tremendous. And again, you're really an innovator in this, and you're taking it and bringing it to the marketplace. And I wish you, I mean, all the success with that. I mean, certainly there's more, and hopefully you'll have it everywhere. And one day, like we can pick it up from a store anywhere, just like, hey,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, I know her. We
Okay.
talked, we had a good time. So,
Awesome.
so that is an excellent thing. So are there any questions that people typically ask or are, maybe wondering about that that you want to share with, like to give answers to people about in general, maybe things I've missed right now?
Um, Not specifically. I think one of the things that you were just touching on that I feel is another important aspect to it. Of course, the physical benefits are wonderful, but there's also like spiritual and communal component to it. So in the UK and Asia, it's a whole like ritual where people sit down together and
Tea time.
it's a big part of their day. And I think
Mhm.
it's important. We all understand more than ever how important connection to others is. And they make the time to sit down and do that, almost daily. And I think that's also a huge reason why it's so good for your system, your whole system. Again, the holistic mind, body, spirit, all of it. So
Well,
I love that about it. And I love that about, the Asian culture as well. They're very much, into their community and family. And I think that's very important.
and I think we did lose some of it in the West, over the centuries and over the years, I guess. We've become a lot more business, and that's it, business first, everything else last, right? And to the depends and to the detriment of a lot of things and values, family, and health, and so on and so forth, a lot of stress. So you're right. I mean, you bring in a concept that can turn things around, and people can mellow down a little bit better and get
Right.
calmer and healthier in a very easy way. So now that brings me to the cost. I mean, is it expensive, to pick up this tradition of matcha tea? I mean, and is it just, pretty much affordable to anyone? 'Cause some people's like, oh, is that going to be very expensive? So that's
Sure.
usually the question, right? People have like concern about, well, I can't afford this. It's money. So what
Right.
will you say to that?
So, again, different brands, different levels, the cost goes up the higher. But I try to tell people, in my opinion, if the cost is really high, and by that I mean, you know, $40 for 30 gram, which is this size.
Mhm.
So $40 for this is really high quality, potent stuff, right? Like it's even a little too bitter for me. But it's good for, the more advanced tea connoisseur.
Mhm.
So my price for this is $25. However, it'll last you a month and a half, 2 months. Me, I use two pretty heaping spoonfuls every day, and it'll last me over a month. So it's definitely affordable in that regard, for
Well,
sure.
well, I can
But it
tell you
can
that.
get expensive. Some of the brands can get really expensive.
Well, listen, some people drink Starbucks coffee every day. That's about $4 a small
Sure.
cup. So they can
Yeah.
certainly match that, and it will be a breeze buying this than that. Nothing against Starbucks, but I mean, there are beverages that are very expensive out there. Some people drink alcohol, and it can be costly, on a
Sure.
regular basis. So it's all about perspective, right? And again, for our health, I think no price is wrong when it comes to
Right.
being healthy, and I don't think that's very expensive. I mean, for a good product that is quality, sometimes when it's too cheap, yeah, it is probably going to be some some corners cut somewhere,
Sure.
and it's not really you're not getting the full ingredient. Again, like it's funny. I can give you an example. I do have actually my wife and I, we have a cosmetic brand, and we use the Moroccan oil, the natural, the
Nice.
argan, but it's funny because there's thousands of products that are similar, and we've sampled a lot of them, and we know our product is literally 100% potent and pure, and it's not heavy price. But there are prices that some people say, oh, I can buy this about for $10, but literally it's really 1% of whatever that oil, and the rest is not really argan oil or Moroccan oil. But you tell people that, they're like, I don't care, it's just cheaper.
Right.
But it's just how people think. But if you want anything good, you got to invest in it. I mean, there's some sort. I mean, it's your health after all. I mean, if we were to buy medicine, it can cost a lot of money.
Right.
And natural, ingredients, natural remedies are probably healthier, and therefore they're worth the investment. Again, I support that idea from the concept. Now, of course, if people can afford it, they can. But the fact of the matter, to your point, that's a lot for 1 month. And if you break it down by day and you drink 2 cups a day, it will be probably the same, even if it was $1 a day, right?
Right.
you go to a cart in New York and buy a cup of tea, it's probably $1. So
Right.
that's $30. Well, $40, you get something stronger and better and healthier
Right.
that you can have home. So
Right.
so again, I think that is very attainable as value, and you'll get more value from it because of the health effect that you're going to get from it. So
Right. Right.
so I just wanted to share that because, people sometimes are always concerned about cost, and, well, this is a new product, and, people are making money on it. That's the other thing. People would always think like, well, she's making money on this. Obviously it's too expensive. But no, I mean, there's cost to production. People don't
I was
realize
just going to say, yeah, the production, if you can mass produce something tens,
Exactly.
thousands of units, then that's great. But, this stuff is more small batch, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of, love and patience that goes into crafting this. So there's a fee involved with that as well.
Well, it's a double standard, right? I would buy, some people will buy a Louis Vuitton product, which is, handmade, or a Coco Chanel. I'm talking to you as a lady, so I'm throwing some nice, stuff there. But, those are like the reason they're very expensive, not only because of the brand, because it's handmade. It takes time to build something crafted, to the liking. And people are willing to pay a lot of money. But when it comes to something like this, people will be like very kind of like, I don't want to spend that, So it's, and by the way, I'm not, again, with all the respect to all our brands and what they do out there and stuff, people love to, to look good, and why not? But this is just another angle. But I'm saying, the reason I'm putting this analogy is, when we see value, we should be able to invest in it. And I think there is value for, not everybody may be healthy and wants to be as healthy, and people think, this is not for me. But for someone that has the knowledge to know what products are out there, this is not something going to pick up from the supermarket, aisle. It's something that is pretty much made for you. All right. And there's an import. I mean, these things have to come in from overseas and get packaged and processed. And the labor here is different from labor, somewhere else where it's mass produced. So all these things are factors, and people sometimes need to hear that to just kind of remind them like, oh, that's what it is. Because they don't realize it. They just see side by side, product to product. I buy one tea bag, one box from a local supermarket at $4, $3, and I can buy, one little, 30 grams, for $25. So that's where people have to understand the difference. It's not what you get, and it's the concentration of it. You can get a lot of stuff. Yeah. Concentration, exactly. So it's concentrated product versus like diluted product.
Right.
And people don't get, a lot of time they don't get that because of just the economics that they think they know. And but nevertheless, it is available, and people will find them, find the right products when they really want them, and they will be willing to make that sacrifice and spend the money for them. And they do it every day for everything. I mean, you can spend money on a good lipstick.
Yeah.
You can spend money on a good tea.
Right.
And then again, you can spend money on, a pair of nice sneakers, and, why not?
Right.
So, people find ways to do things. And, that's just my little, again, pitch on that. I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but, I just like to highlight that.
Yeah.
So, Jen, so what is the website where people can actually get the product?
It's Yang, Yin, YINhealth.com.
All right. So we will have that on the description of the show. So please check it out. Listen, I mean, you're not going to lose anything by going in, clicking, seeing. You might even want to sample something and, see what it is. If you like, you might just get hooked.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
You're right. Absolutely.
But that's about it. So Jen, any last advice to people in general, whether it's about matcha or in general?
I always like to say, and I touched a little bit upon it, but you know, it's great to talk with others like we're doing now and get advice and recommendations, but just remember, if something doesn't work for you or feel right, or, you know, and it's done wonders for somebody else, that's okay. We're all very different. Our systems are very different. It's great to try things, but, you know, don't keep using something that's not working for you. You know, I really like to push that upon people, because again, we're all very different. So, and that's a good thing, as we mentioned.
Listen, hey, there's something for everyone, right?
Yep.
There's
Yep.
everyone. There's somebody for everything.
Right. Absolutely.
I say there's a customer for every product. There's a product for every customer. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's that, and you know, people have to make choices, and it's all about choice and selection, and that's all there is.
Absolutely.
Well, Jen, it was a pleasure learning about the company, about the story, about the actual products and ingredients, and the real effects, and the I guess the resource that you actually provided here. And hopefully people will benefit from it, learning about it, and also maybe sampling it and incorporating their diet and their healthy lifestyle. That would be awesome. So folks, thank you for watching the iHealth channel, the Fit and Fab channel, and iHealth on Listen and on iHealth Radio. Please check out the website on the description of the show, and check out the site, check out the product. All right. That being said, Hurricane H here. Jen, thank you for being on the show, and we'll talk soon. Ciao, ciao.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you for having me.
You're welcome.